Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for the love and support for the last few episodes. I know it's been 2 weeks. I took a small break. I've been busy with work. There's just been so much pouring into me, and I just needed some time to finish a few projects before I could put out the podcast again. But fear not, we have a really fun episode this week with a friend that I met literally on the street. His name is Tony. I thought his name was Trey. It was super fun. It was really nice to talk to him again. I hope you guys enjoy. So I was traveling while filming this episode. The camera equipment wasn't mine. It's gonna look a little bit different. The cuts are gonna be off, or probably won't be adding any cuts. I apologize in advance for that if that's too monotonous, but I hope you guys really enjoy because the content is amazing. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so do I need to be like close though? Is that what we're saying? Yeah, sort of like that.
Oh, okay. However you like. Actually, I had it. Bring it up.
Rolling,
Yes, sir.
rolling.
Okay.
Nice.
Oh man, look at how bad that matte box is put on.
Yeah, so I mean, you only really need a matte box to make yourself look professional, anyway. So
He's so janky as well. This is episode 4. I'm here with what I used to call Trey, but it's actually Tony.
Yeah, I get a bit of stick for that. It comes from. Go on. Yeah.
I literally saw you and I was like Trey, and you're like, "Hi, Ian."
Did I
you
just
didn't even
say
correct.
hello?
You didn't correct me at all.
Sorry.
We've just been living with that.
I don't know why I just acknowledged that as like maybe I just wanted to stick like desperately, but no, I made it like I don't know. It was just something to separate it from my normal name, which is Tony.
Anthony?
No, just Tony.
Just Tony?
Yeah, my middle
Okay.
name's Ray, and so I used to get called T Ray as a kid. So I just put it in. And I was like, oh, that actually like spells
That
a
actually is
word.
pretty sick, yeah.
That's a name.
Yeah.
The only thing is like Trey, the name is obviously an E instead of an A.
Mhm.
So the way that I've got it spelled with an A is like a dinner tray, like in a food court.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of my mates likes to send me a picture just of like a food court tray instead because he thinks it's really funny that I just don't go by Tony on there. But yeah, no, maybe I'm just trying to make it stick. I don't know, personal branding and all that, isn't it? It's like
I think it's nice.
I think it looks good.
Stay with it. T-R-A-Y.
Yeah, people take the piss as well sometimes. Sorry, man, that's
Yeah.
yeah. People take the piss sometimes because like Tony's quite an old man name. I get told a lot.
You're probably the first Tony that I've met.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a friend named Anthony, but we call him Ant.
Yeah, I've had it before where like it's all the time. It's like, is that Anthony? And I'm like, no. I had it once on the phone where a woman went, "Are you sure?" yeah. She said,
I know
"Is
my-
that
I know
short
my
for
name."
Anthony?" Yeah. I was like, no. She was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then when I got off the phone, I was like, that's actually annoyed me quite a bit. I'm like, who are you? But yeah, no, it's something I've lived with for a while.
Must be painful.
No, it's worse. There are a lot like sort of harder names to deal with, I guess, growing up and stuff. I don't know.
If you have an ethnic name, that'd be difficult.
Yeah,
Or like Gen Z people now, like is it I don't know if it's millennials or Gen Zs that having kids.
Yeah,
They're like
that's
naming
like
their kids like weird names.
weird names. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of one that I was listening to a podcast last night. Do you know Smosher? They're like OG YouTube channel.
Oh,
type thing.
Smosh.
Yeah, Smosh.
Yeah,
Yeah. And they do this like Reddit story thing, and
Mhm.
one of them was just about this woman who like was like really up herself about she'd been to like an Ivy League school in America and stuff, and she called her kids Stanford and Yale or something. It's like imagine growing up with that. And then also if you don't want to go there, they were saying like imagine you look kind of fucked. Like
That's so cringe.
yeah. Especially as well, good point. If you want to go to like any other school, they're going to be like, well, you're called, you're named after like a rival place. So no.
I
yeah.
I have a Chinese name and I avoid telling you my Chinese name.
What is your Chinese name?
Don't worry about it.
No, you don't want. Okay, fair enough.
No,
Just go by Ian. That's fine.
the way it works is so Ian is actually in my passport.
Oh,
And then
okay.
Chiam is my family name.
Okay.
But then we also have like you know how Korean names are?
I do know that there is something, but I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to say it in case I'm wrong.
No, it's
so
okay.
please explain to me.
What is a Korean name that you know?
Oh no, I don't like. I'm not going to say I know one. I'm trying to think like the only exposure I have to any Korean culture really is like K-pop probably, and
Yeah.
so I'm trying to think of like some of their names. But
Lee Min Ho. Have you heard that name?
who's the who's the one that's like people are obsessed with? There's that guy called Jimin that other guy got plastic surgery to look like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So his surname is actually Park.
Okay.
Yeah. So it goes Park Jimin.
Yeah. Okay.
So they have their first family name first before their actual name, which is usually two
Yeah.
syllables, right?
Yeah.
So that's how Korean names are, and it's similar to Chinese name. So my Chinese name is actually To Hao.
Okay.
So it's Sham To Hao. Does that make sense?
So then,
But then
why
with
is it on
English,
your passport though?
my parents just wanted me to have an English name as well.
But how? Okay, hang on. So can you just be like, oh yeah, just write Ian on there?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, it's fine.
Oh, fair enough.
But certain documents I have to write the full thing.
Right.
It's just
Okay.
if you look at Japanese names, do you watch anime?
Yeah, a little bit.
You know Naruto?
Yeah.
So Naruto Uzumaki, right? Uzumaki is his family name.
I didn't know he had a last name, to be honest. I've
No.
only just known him as Naruto, yeah.
So Uzumaki is his last name, which is his
Uh-huh.
family name. So Japanese people kind of follow that trend, like just
Right.
Western culture. So
Yeah.
first name and then family name.
Just trying to think of examples like I know, and I'm mostly probably going to go off like football, like Hyungmin's son, even though he plays for
So
Tottenham.
so yeah. So Hyungmin is
Tottenham
actually
rubbish.
so the way
Sorry.
it's okay. The way they arrange that,
Mhm.
Hyungmin is actually what people call him. Because if he had his family name in front, people would think his name is Son.
Right, because he's got son on the back of his shirt.
Son is his family name.
Right. So is he doing that because of Western culture to kind of adapt to
Yeah.
that? Is he like basically making it easy for us ignorant English people? Is that the
I don't
aim?
know actually.
No.
No, I'm not sure. But yeah, I guess he just wants to show like everyone has their family name in the back of their
Yeah.
jersey, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
I guess when they ask him what's your family name, because when you're doing like documents in the West, it's kind of it's annoying sometimes having to
Yeah. No, I bet.
because people just assume your name is like they guess.
Yeah.
They put like for the whole first year of college, my name was Liu.
Right. Okay.
I don't have a Liu in my name.
What?
Yeah, someone just wrote it wrongly and it just stuck for a
good.
whole year.
Nice.
My lecturer just called me Lou for a whole year.
Honestly, I get especially like telling someone my name over the phone.
Mhm.
I get Toby a lot, which
Toby's
when I was younger
nice.
used to. Yeah, I know, but like when I was younger, I'm like it's not my name. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, if it's my accent or what, but people always hear Toby,
Yeah.
especially over the phone. It's weird. Maybe it's just because like the B sound is stronger or something. 'Cause it's what
Tony.
people want to
Tony.
hear. But when I say Tony, it's
Yeah.
like they must. I don't know. They want to hear Toby over. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm probably just overthinking it. But I mean, how long have we been on names now?
I don't know. I would love for you to give an intro of like what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Tony. There we go. Just to get
Not
that.
Trey.
No, not Trey or Toby. I'm well, I'd say bread and butter as a videographer, editor, do a bit of photography, sort of like business owner, I guess I could class
Mhm,
myself as. It's kind of why I'm here, I guess, as well. But yeah, like we do just like when I started it was like creative services is what I said we offered because I kind of can do a few different things that I've just picked up over the years working in this field, I guess.
Mhm.
So like a bit of graphic design, bit of web development, all kind of to a very
Kind of a jack of all trades there.
a little bit, but like what is it? What's the saying?
Jack of all trades.
Like master of none type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that's kind of where I'm at. Because like I can do a bit of graphic design, but I'm nowhere near like a graphic designer. So like yeah, things that I excel at, I would say, are videography and editing,
Mhm.
and then maybe photography is like a close second.
Mhm.
But yeah. But aspiring entrepreneur? No, I'm not gonna.
Live
Nah.
with it.
Well, like
Own it. I think you are.
yeah, I mean,
Technically, you are.
there's not really another word for
Yeah.
it, but it just gives me like LinkedIn vibes, and I hate that word because it's just like it's become so overused, hasn't it? So it's just yeah, try to avoid it, I guess. But
Are you trying to stay away from the corporate scene? You just
Um,
your brand is like fun.
a little bit, yeah.
Mm.
I mean, trying to do it in a slightly different way, I guess. When I like designed the logo for the company, I was like, okay, what's sticking right now? At the time, it was like Supreme and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff, right? So I was like, okay, I originally had some different colors in mind, but always kind of wanted to use red and white because I think red's a really strong color.
Mm.
My dad told me this story when I was younger, but Tiger Woods always wears red on a Sunday, right? So like, golf tournaments, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Mm.
always wears red on a Sunday because his dad told him that it would make the opponent fear him.
Mhm.
So he always wears red on a Sunday. And it's just like one of them colours. And I support Arsenal, so I was like red and white. So I don't know if you're into your football at all.
You
but
support Arsenal, but you're living in Manchester.
yeah, I've lived here for like the past 8 years, roughly, I think now. All my mates are City and United fans, so I just get a lot of stick, especially now. Didn't used to get a lot of stick a few years ago, and we weren't really competing, but now that we are, well, I suppose you could argue that maybe we're not this season, but yeah, now that we're kind of a competitor to the likes of City, and we've always had a bit of a thing with United. Yeah, football's a little bit of a it becomes a little bit of a sore subject sometimes, but it's all in good fun, isn't it? I suppose.
Just now, I kind of want to circle back on what you said there. You do so many different things, kind of jack of all trades. Do you tell that to the client, or do you just say, like, if they come to you and they're looking for videography services, video services, you just play with that, or do you say, oh, I do? You try to cross sell it as well and say, I do this, I do that.
It sort of depends. Lovely golden hour shot there, by the way. I hope that's like not casting me in loads of shadow there.
I was thinking that as
yeah,
well.
no, I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. No, so like it depends really on the client. So especially if it's someone that I've known for a bit and I've worked with previously, I will potentially try and kind of like push the boat out a little bit, maybe.
What's that mean?
And sort of say, like, if it's something where we've worked on a few projects that might have been video or just photo based, and they say, like, do you know any like graphic designers or something? I say, well, I can do a bit if you want to try and keep it as in-house as possible. Depends what you want to do, but I'll always be completely open and honest and be like, look, I am not a graphic designer, but I might be able to do what you need. And we already have a working relationship.
Yeah.
So let's explore if that's something I can do. And if I can't, I'll be 100% honest with you. Because the last thing I'm going to do is like I don't know, take your money for something that I can't do, and I'm not confident that I can deliver like an excellent product. Do you know what I mean? Because the most important thing there is maintaining that relationship, I guess, indefinitely. So don't want to sour anything like that. So I'm always like a little bit careful, not apprehensive, but just careful. If it's like a brand new client or something, the only time I will bring it up is if they explicitly say, oh, we're looking into this, do you do this? Or do you know anyone who does it? Then I will maybe bring it up. But there have been occasions where an existing client, I'll sort of say to them, some of your, like, I don't know, it might be like some physical marketing material. So like they might have some leaflets or something. And I might say, look, what you've got, it's great. Seems a little bit dated. Have you thought about changing it? And if they say, actually, yeah, we're looking at changing it, we just haven't had the time. And if I say, well, I could do it, then it opens up that door.
Yeah.
And then it goes from me seeming like I'm trying to upsell someone to I'm helping you out type thing, which is the case. It's just, there's always that there's that exchange. Business is business. I've got to eat and keep the business afloat, so there is always that. But it genuinely does enter that stage of like that I would love to help you out any way possible, and just maintaining that relationship no matter what.
Yeah.
Even if it's something where I can...
Because it seems very overwhelming because there's so much stuff to do then.
Well, yeah, exactly. If I can source someone else that I know is really good at something, again, you build these relationships with people that you've worked with, and like, oh, he's really good at that, she's really good at this, like, and you can pluck those names out and go, I can put you in touch with this person, I'll intro you. Sometimes I'd much rather do that than try and take a job on myself that I know I can't do.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like I can't excel at. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
When you're just starting out and you just won, you try to earn as many bags as possible.
Yeah.
You just try to do everything you spend.
That was the thing, and I'm just like, I mean, for the past maybe 6 months, have been trying to narrow down exactly what we're doing, and trying to put that on like as the facing part of the business.
Yeah.
So don't read. I know what I'm trying to say here. It's just how I'm trying to say it. Like on our website, I put on like, we can do all this stuff. Click on our services page, and we can do. Hey, there's all these things we can do. There's like 9 different things: web development, graphic design, videography, photography, video editing, sound engineering. I had on there because it's something I have a small amount of experience in. But doing video and stuff, you learn little tricks with audio and stuff like that along the way, right? So, to a certain extent, it's something that like we can offer, and I have a lot of connections within our industry that can do it really, really well. That are like actual sound engineers, right? Whether it's music producers or people in like film and stuff that do some sound engineering. So, it's something that I want to be able to facilitate as we grow, like as an agency type thing, and it's not just me and like a couple of mates with cameras. And so securing those clients that need those services has always been important to me. But I realised that while the capacity is still quite small, I want it to be very clear what we do
Yeah.
and what the bread and butter is, which is kind of videography, editing, maybe photography in there as well.
Is that what you commonly sell to clients, or do you?
Yeah, I like to class us as a production house.
Okay.
So the web development and stuff, often what I've realised is we have our primary and secondary services now. So things like web development and graphic design, they will be things that a lot of the time now will only kind of come up with existing clients. Or an existing client might say, oh, I've got someone who is looking for this. Could you do that? And often that's how those things come through. But it's not something I go out trying to sell necessarily.
Yeah.
The graphic design thing and all that. I don't go out with the intention of trying to sell that necessarily. So yeah.
Would you say you're really confident in that aspect of the business, or you're more confident in like video and photo services?
Definitely more confident. In, like,
Do you
the
prefer
videos.
video or photo?
Videos where I excel again.
Okay.
It's kind of like I enjoy taking pictures. It depends what mood I'm in.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, do you mind if I take this out of here? Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna lean back. Don't want to bump the mic and make a really loud noise. Yeah, that's comfy. So yeah, I mean, I had this conversation with a photographer friend of mine. I don't know when, a while ago now, and I sort of said to him, I'm so much more comfortable with video, not because of actually shooting the videos, but because I back myself as an editor and I know how to fix my mistakes. So
What do you mean, like fixing in post?
yeah, I feel like that's where I'm most confident. Is if I find something, I'm like, oh, that's wrong, that's out of focus, whatever. This needs to be warp stabilized, like because it's really shaky. All of that's like those fixes that you have to do that people should never see or know you've had to do.
Yeah.
That's where I think I'm good at those kind of things. And he said like, oh, see, I like taking pictures because I find it easier to edit them because I take loads of pictures and I just pick the best one. But he said like, when you're filming something, sometimes you get one or two takes and you're just left with that. But for some reason, I looked at it completely differently. Like I feel like I can edit my way out of a hole a little bit, and I think that's what editors are really good at sometimes. When you work with good editors, you realize like the best ones are problem solvers. So they're not the guys that can do all this like all of these crazy graphics and stuff. It's the guys that can take something that wasn't anything before and make something out of it, whether that be giving it a story or what, but fixing something that was like sort of unusable.
I think that's kind of what distinguishes a person from being a videographer and somebody who's a filmmaker.
Yeah,
Story.
maybe. I mean, I'd say that a filmmaker goes out with more of a plan.
Oh, fair enough.
I like to. Well, I think.
I actually have a question there for you.
Go on.
Taking aside, like we take the whole filming process out of it, right? I want you to give me a ratio between how much pre-production in as compared to post-production. Like when you're doing
what, taking the production out of it, out the middle?
Yeah, take it out.
I mean, like, is it like a percentage?
Yeah. 50-50?
Well, give me a project, because there's different types of, different ones call for different amounts of pre-production. Some need barely any. I've got a shoot on Sunday that needs barely any pre-production, just a conversation with the client. What do you want? What do I need to get at this event? And it's like, off you go, shoot the stuff, and we'll make something out of what we get, type thing.
Maybe like a promo. People always doing promo, like a live event.
So worked on something recently with a huge team, the biggest I've ever worked with, and wasn't my project. I was whitelisted for it.
Which is the Portugal one?
Yeah, but I don't know, like, it's nothing secretive. I just don't know like what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I'll leave it there. But yeah, no. So that was such a huge project, and I had so many people working on it that's why the pre-production was so necessary. Like all of the calls and stuff like that, and there were so many calls that like I wasn't a part of. Do you know what I mean? And so many conversations that happened way before I was even called to be like, "Do you want to do this?"
What if it's your own project?
Well, yes. I mean, this is kind of where I'm going with it, I guess. Like, so currently in pre-production stages of a project that we are looking to shoot in January.
Okay.
And that's not because like that's the convenient time. It's because we need roughly maybe 6 weeks of planning. We're nearly in November now, and then we've got Christmas. So taking all of that into consideration, Christmas isn't just a day. We're talking like the 2 weeks around Christmas. No one's going to be of any use type thing to try and get a hold of and stuff. So there's no point even trying to think about that. So if we want to start shooting in January, those 6 weeks are vital to kind of get the most out of that as possible. Just to make sure that on that first shoot day in January, we can just hit the ground running. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows what's happening. But yeah, I mean, I don't often get projects where they maybe take that much. The post-production by far takes up the most time. I think that's something as well that sometimes like is difficult to get across to clients. And I think like a lot of people maybe in our field would understand this feeling. It's like, you show up with your big fancy camera and you shoot the stuff and they see what you're doing. You're running around like a headless chicken, making sure you get all your coverage. And you talk to them afterwards and they're like, yeah, I saw you running around. Like, I hope you got some good stuff. You're like, yeah, we got loads. Mm-hmm. Like, we definitely overshot it, right? Mm-hmm. And they see that. It's a thing that you can almost put a cost on because it's like having someone in an office. There's a price you can put on that. And then like when they're working from home, it's like, are they, mm-hmm. What are they doing? Are they just moving the mouse every like? Yeah. So when you're doing post-production, it's obviously easy for a client to think like, I can't see where my money's going. So it's important to make sure that you kind of set those expectations and have those conversations and make sure that is kind of a part of the overall scope of the project. Is like, okay, how long is this going to take to edit? Most likely a couple of days. But when you say that a couple of days, that's like a couple of days in hours. So I'll usually take like a day, class it as a standard 8 hours, mm-hmm. right? If we're talking like a 16-hour edit, when you think about that, to sit down at your computer and do a 16-hour edit, you're like, but that's split up into like 4-hour chunk here, 4-hour chunk here, 2-hour chunk here.
You can't just sit there and just edit.
You can't. You've got to step away from it. Yeah. You've got to, because it's an art form, and you can't just sit there and paint like these crazy paintings constantly. Mm-hmm. Artists take months and sometimes years to do these paintings. I'm not comparing like a silly Instagram video to that, right? But it is kind of like you get like brain fog and fatigue from sitting there and doing the same thing, and the product ends up worse. So you've got to kind of allow that time to, I'm going to go walk the dog, I'm going to go make dinner and enjoy doing something else where I can just chill. Mm-hmm. I find it really therapeutic, like chopping vegetables sometimes. You know what I mean?
Very random example.
Yeah, but like prepping stuff for dinner, I find like I really enjoy that as a break from like my desk, having something like on the iPad in front of me. So, like making sure that is part of the expectations that your client has, that they know that, okay, they may say a 2-week turnaround. That doesn't mean they're working every single day for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. It's a process that we need room for amends. We need room for time for you to be like, oh, actually, could you add this? If we need to get any assets that maybe you don't have a hold of because your graphic designer sent you your asset like pack and there's not the color that you want in there and stuff, and we need time to make sure we can get the proper versions. Just things like that. We need an end card. We don't have the end card. Okay, who's making the end card? Do you need us to make it? Someone else? All of these questions. They've turned them lights off, which is really annoying.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, I know they've turned the lights off. Huh. Hopefully, the lighting will be fine.
I'm shooting logs.
Perfect. Push it up. Perfect. But yeah, I mean, maybe long-winded answer. Maybe I'm venting. but yeah, I don't know if you agree. Do you agree?
Definitely, the edit does take time.
But like
when you're in the flow, you don't break it as well.
Yeah,
you try to sit down, and I'm like, I try to sit down, try to edit, and I'm like, no, I'm not going anywhere. Don't really know what I'm doing. Just putting random things together.
Yeah.
And then some days you're like, damn, it's really flowing, it's coming together. Mm-hmm. If I feel like I could finish it, I'll just finish it.
Yeah. And if I stop, then I find it really hard to get back into it.
Exactly.
It's sometimes when it's like, I don't want to sound like it, but when like you lock into it a little bit, and I don't mean that in like the ridiculous kind of Gen Z sense of like locking in, but when you do actually kind of sit there and you're, like you say, things are just going right.
It's a flow state.
And it's all just like, you're like, this is sick. And like all of a sudden you're halfway through your timeline, you're like, and what comes out of it is like a 60-second video sometimes, but the best ones are when you allow that room to breathe, because it allows you to go away think, oh, I'm going to add that. It allows you a bit of creative freedom.
Sure, between you and me, I spend more time doing the short videos that I post to promote the podcast than the edit of the podcast itself.
I'm not surprised at all.
It's wild, right?
When I've done them before, that's what takes the time.
Yeah.
Making sure they're really like fast paced and stuff.
And you cut around to create like a sort of hook to
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you use because when you're editing for social, because you're going from 16:9 to 9:16, and you're like flicking between those two camera angles most of the time, you rarely there's rarely a wide in.
I use wide.
Do you use in the social edits, right? Just because you're able to get so many cuts in, do you use those cuts a lot to get rid of like your dead noise and your silences and stuff? Because that's what I find I do. So like the actual conversation in the podcast works like a conversation.
Yeah.
But when it's the edited like social clip, you might even cut out a whole chunk of what someone said because it's just a bit like rambly and not interesting. And then you make like this 30-second clip that's just like bang, bang, bang,
Yes.
bang.
Yes.
And then like when they watch a podcast, it's nothing like that.
No, because I don't even add music to the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
I post it and people just sometimes people just leave it on and just listen. They don't really care about the way it looks.
A lot of podcasts don't have like background music throughout the whole thing though.
No, yeah. But the thing is with the social edits, I cut up the parts I find interesting in the podcast.
Yeah.
But not all of it. So probably 1/3 of the stuff that I like. And then I label what the person's talking about and then I arrange them in an order that I wanna try to create. So
Bit of a storyline, yeah.
it does and the story sometimes isn't even from the podcast. It's a crafted story.
Right. Okay. Yeah. You have to sometimes do like I was just saying to Cole. Right. This is like I'm not often the one who's not in control of the edit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was saying to my girlfriend the other day, like I've never done a podcast where this is the first one I've done that's someone else's.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Sick. Wow.
I've only ever done like my own, and we barely got that off the ground to be honest. But I was the one editing it, which is part of the reason it really never went anywhere. Is because it takes so long to edit them, right? Well, the style we would do it anyway. And I had complete creative control. So if there was something where I'm like, that sounds cringe. If I thought I sounded cringe, I was like, that's getting cut. No one has to know that it was ever said. You know what I mean? And just cover it with like a cut to my other friend who I was doing it with. But yeah, like, you know, not having creative control over an edit and stuff is like sometimes it's quite nice. It's kind of like takes that weight off a little bit when you're shooting something. Obviously not for you because you've got to edit this.
No, it's easy. It's just one camera.
True. No, that's fair.
I'm not syncing any audio. It's all going to the camera.
No, okay,
one
fair.
left, one right.
I'm hoping that like
that's why I call it portable. No, you're fine.
It's good. I like the setup.
I have some that's far away. I adjusted the the levels already. So
Yeah.
it's so easy. Like even cutting in, you would think it wouldn't look nice, but I mean I was surprised. I thought it wouldn't look nice, but just cutting in just.
For what? Sorry.
I'm using AI, so I have a wide shot and 2 close-up shots.
Are you using the AI to do it? I've never used that. Does it work well?
40 minutes in 20 seconds, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's something I definitely need to look at.
It's only 30 a month as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the thing is, what keeps me accountable is because I have like episodes recorded and I have others planned and people are waiting for it and it makes me excited.
Yeah, no, that's such a nice feeling as well to be able to like...
It's different from client work because this is something, this is a passion thing.
Yeah. And it's like fulfilling to do.
Yeah. I think there's a nice balance between that as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Mate. No, I commend you for plugging away at it because I mean, already, if I'm episode 4, you've already got further than what me and my mate did. And we've got like a whole 3 camera setup and stuff. It's just one of them. Sometimes you start something and you both get really busy. Both like young business owners who we're trying to make everything work and we're trying to like build something and doing that sort of took a bit of a backseat.
The problem is then like because I'm the only person, I have to make the time for the person I'm talking to. So that way it's easy.
See, and I like that. I like the idea of like you doing what you're doing where also like you go to the people. I think it's a very chilled out way of doing it. Yeah. Because like, it gives you so much opportunity to like interview certain people, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Interview, talk to, you know what I mean? Like, you never know. It only takes like one big guest or something that you might potentially. It's sort of like a ladder, right? You meet one person, there's another person, and like if you're not really taking anything out of their day, it's like a half an hour thing where you sit down. All they have to do is sit here and have a chat with you. it's a great way to do it.
One thing I really hate, and I had to get used to, was small talk. I
Yeah.
hated small talk.
That's something I was worried about before today. 'Cause it's like,
You thought it'd be small talk?
no. I just don't know if like sometimes like being in front of a camera. I feel right now I'm like comfortable now, but initially I was like, I'm not great in front of camera. I don't think.
I have
Even though it's just me and
preset
you.
questions in my head, but I'll flow with what you're saying.
Yeah, but which is a sign of a good interviewer. It's just I'm usually behind the camera as you. I guess. So do you know what I mean? It's one of them. I think I'd like to do more in front of camera stuff. I just need to take that leap a little bit, maybe.
To last week, I wanted to release the first episode because I wanted to call it Friday Frames, but you guys would know it's something else. So I have to film an intro for episode 2 later on, but I changed it to Weekend Wisdom because I couldn't meet that Friday thing. I missed it once,
Right?
and I was so tired after work. I was just dead because I wanted to release it Friday morning. So that means I have to finish edit by Thursday.
Yeah.
And it wasn't hard, but I was just
Yeah,
you
just mate. Sometimes you just like.
So instead of
Burnt out.
postponing the next week, I was just gonna do it. Then last Saturday, I think I went out to the coffee shop. It was like 9 a.m. Just sat there, set up the camera, spoke to the camera. It's my first time filming. Jasmine, she's used to filming herself in public.
Right.
I'm not. It's completely awkward talking to the camera.
It's your girlfriend, isn't it? Yeah. You said, doesn't she? What does she do again?
Social content.
Yeah,
Social.
she does like.
So she's more like a
social
content
stuff.
creator.
Yeah.
But
She's probably quite good at it than I imagine.
she's
she does it
used to
full time.
speaking. Her latest video, because you guys won't see it yet, but her latest video, so if I'm talking to the camera like this and I'm with you, it's not as awkward. But if I'm alone and people are around me doing stuff,
Oh, mate,
my
I
gosh.
can't do that. I can't do like the in-public thing on my own. People looking at you like a freak now. I can't do it.
And she's just completely like in the zone, you know?
Yeah.
Ulanzi just came out with a new mic called A30. It's
Oh,
like
right.
a
Okay, yeah.
tiny little lav mic. They sent it over to her, so she did a review on it.
think
She
you
created a
told
whole
me about
she
this.
created a whole story for it. So she's probably editing it right now. It should be released by tomorrow. But
Right.
yeah, I want to get free stuff. I
You
love
have to send me her
equipment.
socials so I can have a look because I forgot that she did that. But yeah, no, did she do like camera stuff then? Did she?
You specifically the DJI Osmo.
Oh
Yeah, the Pocket
yeah,
Tree.
of course.
Yeah,
no,
so that's the
send
one
me
that helped
over.
her like kind of blew up, and she's really into that camera. She loves that little thing. And it's just the most amazing vlogging camera. So
Yeah, they do look good. I don't know if it's part of me is like I feel like it can do what your iPhone can do.
oh yeah,
Yes, it has like the gimbal in it and stuff, but the stabilization on them is so good as well. I'm not really sure. It does obviously have a purpose, and because like people are loving it, the Osmo. But I've got like the old DJI like iPhone gimbal where you just clip your iPhone in, and that's great. I know obviously it's like another thing to
of course.
carry and stuff, and this thing is like fits in your pocket, whatever. Like, but so does my phone. I don't. There's not a use case for me necessarily. I don't think.
I think for me personally, I just don't like using my phone.
Yeah, that's fair.
Aside from like, I use my phone for magic, but that's about it.
Yeah, I know you and your magic, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard it was trying to like explain to? I was talking to Molly, my girlfriend,
Yeah.
and she was like, "How was your meeting earlier?" I was like, "Yeah, good." First like hour we were like chatting about stuff, and then next 45 minutes just did magic tricks. I was like, she's like, "What?" And I was just like, "Yeah." It's just it was really good. One of the best meetings I've ever had.
Actually, that reminds me, I got you a deck of cards.
You didn't.
Yeah, I got you a red deck of cards.
What, the bicycle one?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for it to arrive. I ordered it yesterday, and I was really hoping for it to arrive today.
Oh, you muppet.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Do you know what? I was going to bring you a present, and I was like, I don't know what to get him.
No, it's okay.
I didn't really think about it.
You got the matcha. That was for Jasmine.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got to get you something.
No,
next
no,
time
no,
then.
no, it's fine.
Yeah.
Or-
Yes. Sorry. No, you've made a rub for your own back now. Thank you so much, mate.
I'm still waiting for it to arrive.
Yeah, I know you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, but you said you wanted
the
it.
ones, are they?
No, I had spare ones. I just completely forgot to bring them, and I was like, "Oh, since I wanted a new blue deck, I might as well buy a red one as well."
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I've just always wanted I want to learn. I get bullied
They're
by
very
like
slippery.
by like my own like family because for the way I deal cards. Apparently, I'm really slow at dealing cards. I don't think I'm that bad at it.
Yeah,
But they love to like bully me about it when we play cards because apparently I'm just really slow. So I need to get better at it, and I feel like the bicycle cards could
it
come
will
in
help you
handy.
with slippery.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I almost don't want to take them out the pack because like they're so crisp and stuff in the box.
They're great to start out as well, and that's just all I use to perform with.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's like you have to, don't you? Especially if you're doing like what you're
I
doing.
think it's like industry standard. I don't even know if that's
No,
a term.
yeah, it's gotta be.
Is that a term? industry
yeah.
then?
What for cards?
Yeah, for Magic.
I think Magic's an industry. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think bicycle cards are. Yeah. I've only ever heard about them from magicians. Actually, to be fair,
Okay.
I don't know what they use in casinos. Do they use
B.
Ah,
Probably B. I don't know. In the
Is
US
that
they
a
use
make, is
B.
it?
They use what's that called? There's one more I forgot what the name is, but B essentially is like the casino style sort of playing card.
right. Okay.
It's all made in the US. All good
Right.
playing cards are all made in the
And is
US.
there anything different about them?
So bicycle uses air cushion finish.
Okay.
Um,
Is that like slippery?
There's like air pockets between the three pieces of paper. That's why it's like
Oh, mad.
puffy a little
And it
bit.
like floats.
It's smooth, yeah.
No, but like when you throw it, it kind of looks like it floats across the table.
Not really, no.
No.
Um,
Okay, no, just ignore me. That's fine.
But I never thought about it that way. But
You know, like when you throw
yeah.
a card across the table, it just floats. Maybe the air like
Maybe,
gets
I
under
always
it.
thought it was just slippery.
Yeah, well, so I'm thinking like maybe that's why I was asking. Like maybe the casino ones are a little bit more grippy because they
Yeah.
stick to the felt. So I'm thinking because otherwise it just like when they're dealing out poker. Oh, sorry, when they're dealing out poker and like it sticks. Because maybe the dealers are just really good. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I think I've been to a casino like twice in my life.
I've never been.
No, they scare me.
Why?
I don't know. You've got to sign up for a membership whenever you go in,
Yeah.
and then they give you a little card with your name on it, and it feels really official. And I'm not like a big gambler or anything. I don't really have
hate
money. I can't afford to gamble.
Okay, fair.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and you
I'm
go
scared
down
to
there.
gamble.
Yeah, me too. I don't want to lose
Yeah.
money. It's the last thing I want. And like, feels bad when like I might put like a fiver on the football sank, and then my bet doesn't come through, and I'm like, oh well, that's just a fiver gone. I'm never gonna
Yeah.
see it again. It's horrible.
I feel like as like creators, you have very addictive personality. So if you actually do well
Yeah.
at gambling, you're like, oh, I want to try
That's the danger, isn't it? Is that like you do well and you think you can do well every time.
That's how they catch you.
Yeah, no, 100%, mate. It's like that whole industry is crazy and like.
And I
messed up.
manipulate cards. Or I can't even speak. Manipulate cards, so I know how it's like. But obviously, I don't think they do that in the casino. It's just I just start to.
Yeah, house always wins though, mate.
That's true.
That's what I say.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
some probability thing. Like the odds of you winning is just much
Yeah.
lower compared to.
Well, it's like they want you to win, so you keep betting and betting more, so then eventually they win it back, right? That's the game. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you walk down there and stuff. Like casinos in this country, they're all open till ridiculous hours in the morning. It's usually the last thing open, so people just end up there after a night out. Everyone's a bit hammered. They're still serving food at like 4 a.m. It's a bit of a weird vibe. You go down there, people are sat around like a blackjack table and stuff, and they all look like they know what they're doing. And I feel like they're just people, right? But you go down there and it feels like you walk down the stairs and then the guy's playing the piano and he stops and everyone turns and looks at you and they're like, "Who's this guy?"
They know you're not used to being.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be here. Yeah. So that's how I feel. I feel like a bit of a poser walking into a casino. So I'm like, I don't have the money to be spending here at all. Do you know what I mean? Can't put down like a £1 bet.
Yeah.
Bit embarrassing.
I don't even know what the minimum spend is.
No,
for a
neither
casino.
do I. What's the minimum
fair.
bet in a casino? I have no idea.
The one time that I've been in a casino, actually, I was working there.
Oh, really?
The restaurant that I was working for, I was still in college.
Right.
They were doing like a Chinese New Year buffet,
Okay.
and that was a very common thing because there's a bunch of Chinese people in like casinos.
Oh, okay. There's actually, yes. This is. I think I've been in a casino maybe 2 times in my life. One of the times was in Chinatown in Manchester, and
There's a few casinos there.
I think so. Yeah. And this is what I mean. Like you just get dragged there after a night out, and you're like, this is not where I want to be.
I never.
I want to go home.
I've never ended up at a casino on a night out.
Really?
It's
Try
usually
it.
a chipper.
A chipper?
Yeah.
What?
Like
Like a kebab shop? Is that
yeah.
what- You call it a chipper?
Yeah. Do you not call it a chipper?
No. Never
What do you
heard
call
of
it?
Before. Well,
Take out.
Well, yeah, no, it just depends. Like a kebab shop. If it's a kebab shop,
I mean,
I feel like you're
I
saying
can-
like a chippy. Is
Yeah.
it like going for like a chippy tea? Yeah,
Never heard that.
you go to a chippy for your tea.
That's weird. Probably different slangs. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Actually, you spoke about the money there. I was kind of curious. Being in this business, was there a point where you were struggling?
Oh yeah.
Wait, before that, did you study like something related? What did you do?
I got like okay GCSEs. Went to college.
What did you do for college?
I was studying. Right, so I was studying media, IT, economics, and graphic design were my four.
4-1.
You choose like four.
Okay.
You like four A levels.
Yeah.
Or at least I did. And I lasted about 6 weeks and then decided to drop out.
Okay. So you didn't finish?
No, I never went back to school after that.
Sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was like I tried really hard to like get in. This was like the best college in my area. It was half an hour away from my. It wasn't like even in my area. It was like 2 trains away. Like tried really hard to get into it. Got into it, and then it just wasn't for me. I felt like.
Did you receive any pressure from your parents to have to finish it? Or?
No. I remember I went to my mum and said to her, like, just sort of on the sly, I'd come home one day and she come home from work and I said to her, can I talk to you? And she was like, yeah, what's up? And I just said, I just don't think it's for me. And she went, all right. She's
Such a cultural thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe.
My dad was like, if you want to do marketing, you're not going to Ireland and study.
She's massive on education. I only got good GCSEs because my mum wanted me to.
Yeah.
If she hadn't like pushed for me to get good GCSEs, I wouldn't have.
Okay.
But she was adamant, like, sit down, revise, you're doing it, type thing.
When you became an adult, she was like, just.
Well, no. What it was. So she said, like, okay, if you're not enjoying it, but like kind of like you're an adult, you can make that decision. But it was more a case of, okay, so now what? It wasn't like, okay, yeah, drop out and like stay at home all day and do it. I was like, okay, well, if you're dropping out, what are you doing? And I was sort of like, I hadn't thought that far ahead. And she was like, okay, well, you can come work for me until Christmas. Because obviously, like, the school year starts, college, I don't know.
What
Starts
does she do
in
for?
like September. She's a sign language interpreter.
Okay.
So I was 16. She was like, you can come work for me until Christmas. And then I end up working for her for a couple of years, I think, really. But started out as just an IT technician's assistant. So I had like this guy who was my boss and stuff. The aim was always to make sure that she was never my boss because that just felt weird. That was like, didn't work. So the aim was always to make sure that there was someone in between, like a bit of a buffer. So yeah, I was an IT technician's assistant. Then I took on, they wanted to start doing like socials. So I took on all their socials and figured out how to be a social media manager. We're talking like, hang on, yeah, I'm 26 now. This is 10 years ago. Like a social media manager wasn't like a...
That wasn't a thing.
It was a job, but it wasn't like what it is now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like now it's like a very common
20.
job. It's like you come out of uni, that's kind of a job that you look to maybe go into in a creative field. It wasn't really massively a thing. It was still like an old Twitter layout. I remember that. But yeah, so that would have been like, what, 2014? And sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, so I was doing that, and then they wanted to start shooting some content, and I'd taken an interest in like filming stuff and whatever. I think I got my first camera at like 15, 16. I'd taken an interest in it. So my mum was like, okay, well, you can do that because no one else is like going to do it. It's like, here's the company camera and gear. I was like, there you go. And we started shooting like just content for social. But like at the time it was like YouTube. We were shooting like YouTube videos for the deaf community. Okay. So that was a massive challenge. As one of like my first projects was shooting video for deaf people.
Oh, sound design there.
Well, what do you do? It's kind of like, it's also that kind of making it accessible, not just for deaf people or hearing people, but for everyone. So making sure that the videos are for the deaf community primarily. Some of the stuff we did was like news, because deaf people sometimes find it really hard to access the news. Oftentimes they have to wait until like late, and then they get the version with the person in the corner doing the interpreting. So making an accessible version for them, but ones that like, you know, there are a lot of like deaf parents that have hearing children. Yeah. Making something that they could watch together. So it had a voiceover and subtitles as well. So you can watch it with your deaf parents, even if you're a hearing child, where it's maybe a difficult thing to bond, because that is, I think, quite common in the deaf community. I might be wrong, but from what I know, it can be quite common if that is the situation with deaf parents, hearing children. So that was always like something in mind, was like, let's make this fun, let's make it accessible for everyone, and not just be like, we're making something just for this community, this niche. Yeah, it was just like, what's a way to just open it up type thing. So that was like a massive first test for me. And it was something that we did well. And when I went full time, when was it?
8 years.
It was sort of during lockdown. No. So I've been doing this full time now for 3 years. Yeah. So I worked on and off for my mum, and then her company was like my first client. Was how I went full time. It's funny, like listening to Cole's story. It's kind of a similar thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was listening to that, I was just sort of like sat there, like, oh, okay. Well, this is going to be an exciting story because he's already had one of these on. But yeah. So her company was my first client, and we still, well, we started making that content again when I took her on. So making that the kind of the accessible news for the deaf community and stuff, but now tailored for Instagram and TikTok. So it's no longer like a YouTube video that's 4 minutes long. I had to explain to the guy that was doing it. We hadn't filmed it for like 8 years maybe. And obviously we're both 10 years older now and he still wanted to do it. So I was like, okay, but you've got to get the day's stories into 60 seconds. He was like, what? I was like, yeah. I was like, that's the game now, mate.
Yeah.
We haven't got 4 minutes for you to talk about them in depth. I'm like, headlines, bang, bang. Like, you know, that's the way the content's going to work. So just finished editing one today. And the funny development from that is that the most efficient way for us to do it, because they're based down south, was it needed a voiceover. He had interpreters with him working, like what they film it and send it to me now and I edit it. Was for them to write a transcript and then for me to do ding ding, dinner time.
Damn, that was 45.
Wow.
Yeah, just keep going because I have one, two more questions.
Fair enough. Sorry from rambling. Yeah, so it was for me to do the voiceover. So I'm now his voice on like his deaf news show, which is
You're the voice of the.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, it's really interesting. Like you just sort of like learn sign language a little bit just by watching. You start to figure out what certain words are and stuff. There's a couple I know, obviously, with my mum doing it as her job, but like, you know, you start to understand the language a little bit.
Will you be conversational with
that? No, I mean. So like this guy that I work closely with, he presents the news, because I've known him for so long. We kind of have like our own language a little bit, but I've realised maybe recently, just getting a bit older, that I think that's quite bad on my part, and that actually I need to make more of an effort to learn sign language, because what we've done now is we've made some hybrid, adapted, like almost mime like language, which neither of us want to communicate in. And he is physically unable to hear me and have conversation, so I need to make more of an effort to learn proper sign language. And I'm aware of that. It's something that I need to do, and I haven't got around to doing. But yeah, I mean, like I say, when I met him, I've known him for 10 plus years. So we kind of just like developed our own language a little bit. Yeah, I guess.
The guy who basically...
He presents it, his name's Robin, and he presents the news, and then I voice over him, yeah.
So to this day, they're still one of your clients.
Yeah.
Kind of wild.
Yeah. So I handle a lot of stuff for them.
Was there a point in your life when you're doing this journey where you're like, I just can't do this?
Yeah. So because that's what you asked earlier. That's how that's kind of how we got onto this. Yeah. So I've been doing this for like 3.5 years full time. First year probably went way better than it should have, and I was like, this is great. There is demand for my supply, which is, I've tried starting businesses before and stuff when I was younger and like a teenager, just trying things out, and nothing ever really stuck. I wanted to start a record label. Turns out like no one really wants to like sign to a record label that like has never signed anyone before. Do you know what I mean? But because I was passionate about music, but that doesn't mean that people are going to be passionate about my thing, right? And again, that's like a valuable lesson that I think I learned. So it was about taking a skill that I have and creating demand for something that I can give, and that was where I found myself. And that first year went like really well and stuff. Was getting like a few jobs, and I was surprised at myself, to be honest. Second year was a very different story, and was...
This is last year.
Yeah. So this would have been
2023.
Let's say that. Yeah. So like, 2022 pretty good. 2023 pretty poor. It was rough. Just, it could have been way worse. But I think it was also sort of the thing of thinking. Sorry, the thing of just like poked your head through the door like that. It was the thing of being like that first year went so well, and it was a bit of like a confidence knock when the second year didn't. I'm like, this isn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. Maybe I'm not as good at this as I thought I was, and maybe I was being a bit cocky. And so again, lesson learned type thing. You've always got to like try and find a lesson in those kind of things, right? Yeah. I mean, I like telling this, but it's just it's almost like a fond memory. Is that I didn't really have like the money to make. Well, I say this, I definitely did have the money to maybe like if I'd spent it more wisely, but like would find myself maybe at the end of a month being like sort of run out of all my food and I can't afford to go like shopping again until I pay myself. So tonight it's going to be pasta, and I don't have any sauce, but I do have crisps. So I'm going to crush up this bag of crisps. So I've got some flavor on it, and yeah, and that was a little bit of a go-to like near the end of a month maybe.
And how long were you like in that period for?
There was maybe like a solid 6-month period where like it was just tough, but it really kind of put a rocket up my ass. And I've had a couple of experiences like that since doing this when I started for different reasons. You know, whether it might be like being like mistreated by people that you come across in business that maybe don't have the same like morals as you and stuff, which can be a bit of a shock first, but then once you realize that those people exist, again, it just makes you aware, and it's just like lesson learned type thing. So I've had a couple of experiences where it's been like a bit of a rocket up your ass, and like, right, let's go, because you don't have time to sit there and be like, oh, nothing's going right for me. You can do that, or you can pick yourself up and go, I need to make money.
Basically, those just don't pay you.
And no, it was just more of an experience with someone who I thought of as a friend, who it just went sour, and felt like it was out of my control, and felt like I was dealing with someone that felt like I was discardable, if that's what I'm trying to think of. But you know what I mean? I was easy to get like, can't be asked there a little bit. So yeah, but again, you can sit there and you can go like, this isn't fair, or you can just sort of go, right, on to the next one, brush it off, let's keep going. Because if you don't, that's when the business fails, you know. And it's not like, I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do, or that everyone should just be like, well, you know, put on a brave face. But you have a decision, and you just have to sort of like decide what it is that you want to do in that situation, I guess. Yeah.
How would you say you're going now? Since then? That's quite recent.
Yeah. Well, it's
Still fresh.
I never wanted to be in that position again. I wanted to, like, you know, afford a jar of pesto. So pesto from pasta. So what's that?
Yeah, but I don't get the reference. What do you...
Oh, because instead of putting crisps on top of it.
Oh.
Yeah, no. Or like a nice jar of Dolmio sauce or something like that. Yeah. Just something to like that was actually meant to go on the pasta. Anyway, yeah, I didn't want to find myself in that position again. So that was something that I said to myself. It's not gonna, even if things get bad, they're not gonna get that bad. It's also a case of be smart with your money.
Yeah,
you know, because like I say, I'm not gonna be like, I couldn't afford it. It wasn't that bad. It was just a case of things got really, really tight, maybe towards the end of the month and stuff. And I was not in a position to maybe, you know, enjoy my life as well. Going out wasn't maybe an enjoyable experience on occasion, because it's the thing of like, do I have enough money in my bank account to buy drinks here? But everyone's going out and you don't want to miss out on it. And whether or not you think that that's the thing where you have to go, well, I just can't go out, which I understand that point of view on it. And yes, maybe it'd be healthy to do that. But we're all human, and there is that thing like, I don't want to not be able to go out with my mates, you know? So being able to like just go out and enjoy myself and not have to worry about things like money, or like book a holiday. That's like, you know, something that I'm sort of striving towards, is I want to just be able to book a holiday as I should be able to, being self-employed. It's one of the perks of it, right? But not worry about how much it's like, obviously within reason,
of course,
how much it's going to cost. Like, I want to like be like, oh yeah, okay, well, it doesn't matter if it's like an extra £100 for these dates or something like that, because we can do that, you know. Whereas right now it's a little bit like, what's the cheapest holiday we can get? Me and Molly are going to Budapest in
that's not cheap.
Well, no, see, the thing, we threw out between that and Copenhagen, but I mean, we got like flights and accommodation for £500, I think, for both
that's
of
really
us.
good.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's what I mean. That's why we chose it. We didn't go to Copenhagen because it's meant to be really expensive when you get there. So chose Budapest because it's meant to be a bit cheaper.
So what's your
But-
plan for the next, say, I like, people usually ask 5, but I can only visualize like 2.
Yeah, no, I
2 is
agree.
like a push.
I don't know what this looks like in 5 years.
In a year?
Yeah. No, like 2 years is a nice kind of happy medium. Me and my business partner are looking at kind of trying to expand what we're actually producing. So I don't know what direction that is going in, what that looks like right now, but we definitely want to not be boxed into what we're doing right now. We want that to be kind of a flexible thing where we can maybe hand off some of the responsibility of, say, the production aspects and make some time to, I don't know, for argument's sake, if we wanted to start selling like a product or some t-shirts, I don't know, everyone's got like a clothing line now, but if we wanted to start, like, say we wanted to do that, being able to free up some time to do that, because right now I would never be able to dream of it, right? But I think that is something that we're both very keen on doing, being able to run multiple businesses but involve other people so we can take a little bit of responsibility off of our shoulders and move on to other ventures and try and start some new projects, keep things fresh, and build a little bit like an empire, let's say, whether or not that's in like the creative field or it's doing something completely out of left field, you know. That's what I think I want to transition into, more of a business owner than just a videographer or an editor.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
There was this graph thing. It looks like the Eisenhower matrix, but it's
Oh God, what's that? That sounds very intelligent for me.
it's like a cross, right? And then there's 4 things inside of it.
Okay.
So there's business owner, there's investor, there's self-employed, and there's employed. So right now you're trying to transition from self-employed to business owner. So self-employed means you're working the business. Business owner means you just own it.
Right.
Yeah.
Got ya.
So
okay.
So in every aspect of business, and I like to tell people this as well. It's like when you're doing your thing, like right now, it's great because you're thinking of scaling. You have to think of it in a way that, is this business able to function without me? That's your first step.
Yeah. That's something that we're both quite keen on, I think. Yeah.
And then the second part is it able to grow without me?
Yeah. Well, that's a huge thing.
So
right?
that's going to be a huge, you have to find like people you trust to actually
100%.
manage that. And I feel like there are people out there who aren't necessarily in this field that we're in, but are amazing at management.
Yeah. I think that not everyone, we're in like such a kind of grind culture, right?
Yes.
Like age, and not everyone has to be a business owner. I think that's quite a healthy kind of mindset, is that like, if you don't, maybe owning a business isn't right for you type thing. Though some people just want to be able to like take a project on board or not have all that responsibility. I think for some reason that's something that attracts me to it, is having that responsibility and building something from the ground up. Something that I really enjoy about it, and potentially even more passionate about than just production. Even though that's where I found myself right now, I think the idea of taking like a seed and watching it grow is something that really attracts me to being a business owner. I think it's something I've always what's the word there? I've always strived to be in that position. I think maybe seeing my mum from like since before I was born, she's had her own business. So seeing that has always made me think that's something I want to do. I used to
You just gave me this idea actually.
go on. I used to dream, like, not dream because it sounds weird, but my kind of like ideal thing when I was younger is like, I really want my own office. And that sounds really dumb.
No,
but like,
no, I
even in
agree
a building
with you.
like what we're in now, right? I mean, like, you look out across
It's nice.
the skyline of a city, and you're like, I love the kind of the being in the heart of it, like the hustle and bustle. And I've always really, really just like been like, how cool would it be to be like, say to like my mum and dad, like, come see my office in the middle of Manchester city centre. I think that's like a big thing for me. I don't know why. It just is. It's a goal, you know, that you get these little milestones and you have to really appreciate them, because if you don't, you miss them, and then you're like, oh, it's a few years down the line.
Enjoy the journey as well.
100%.
People tend to forget that.
Really need to. Yeah.
I want to end on a very interesting one.
Go on.
I wish I did this for the last few people, but I want you to ask.
Is this the first time you've asked this?
Yes.
Okay.
I want you to ask a question to the person after you.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
And you wouldn't know who's going to be next. So that's
No,
the
I
fun.
don't. Are we saying it can be like anything?
Yeah.
Oh God, you've really put me on the spot here. Try and fill the void with something while I think.
Literally anything you want.
Can you cut here?
Yeah.
While I'm thinking. Okay, I think I've got something.
What was it?
I don't know who it is, right?
Yeah.
Are they? Can I just have this? Because otherwise it's not going to make sense. Are they
Yeah.
a business owner?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
I know who's going to be the next few ones, but I don't know who's going to be next. If that makes sense. You get me?
But do you know who you're talking to after me?
No.
Oh, okay.
I have like 2 people in mind, but
Okay. Well,
they're essentially people who are creatives or people who are interesting. So
okay.
not necessarily creatives, but interesting.
Okay. Maybe if you look back at your journey, whatever that may be, business owner, creative. If you look back at that journey to the point where you're at now, what's one thing that you would change and why? And they can't just say, oh, I wouldn't change anything, because that's a bullshit answer. They need to choose something. There's got to be something you'd want to do differently, because there always is. The only reason any of us get like to a certain point is because we've failed along the way. You have to fail and get back up to get onto the next thing. Not everything just goes 100% smooth. So even if that is like, you know, for me, for instance, I sometimes question, like, did I make a mistake not going to uni? Do I regret it? I think that the only thing I think maybe I missed out on was the lifestyle and stuff. But I still moved here when I was 18. I just didn't have to go to lectures. You know what I mean? So like, I am curious, did I miss out on that? I know it's not necessarily something to do with my professional life, but it's a question I ask myself. And I think a lot of people, like, it doesn't have to be regrets. It's just, what would you...
It's curious.
What would you do differently? Like, now knowing what you know. Yeah. Bit of a boring one, but...
No, it's nice.
But you put me on the spot.
You kind of explain why you asked that as well. So there's like context to why you would think like that. So that's interesting to see like how different people have different answers.
Conversation starter.
Perfect. This is so far my longest one, I think.
Yeah, sorry about that. I like to
No,
talk.
it's okay. No, it's great.
Are we done? Oh, they've just turned the lights back on as well, look.
They moved.
Is it a motion thing?
It might be.
No way.
Yeah, it might be.
Oh, no. Hopefully the whole thing's not really done.